The rumble of the motorcycle died into a low growl as the sun slipped behind the trees, but the man riding it, Ryder Kane, a hardened Hell's Angel with a face carved by years of battles, felt something he hadn't felt in a long time, unease. He sensed it the moment he looked over his shoulder and saw her again. A tiny figure in a bright blue dress, barefoot, her blonde hair messy, her little fists balled at her sides. She was following him. She had been for 3 blocks. She couldn't have been more than 4 years old, yet her eyes held something far older, fear mixed with desperate determination. It sent a strange chill up his spine, one he never felt even facing rival clubs. Something was wrong. Very wrong. If you believe kindness and second chances can change the world, take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us tell stories that matter. Ryder pulled over slowly, boots grinding against the pavement as he turned toward the child. The street was quiet, suburban, a place miles from the gritty chaos he usually rode through. It felt almost unreal to see a biker with tattoos and leather squatting in the middle of a peaceful neighborhood, facing a trembling little girl who looked like she belonged in a picture book. She didn't say anything. She just stared at him with wide eyes, as if memorizing his face, as if pleading without words. He felt his chest tighten in a way no fistfight had ever managed. He wasn't used to kids. He wasn't used to innocence. But something about her stillness, the way she hugged her own arms, made him speak softly despite his rough voice. He asked if she was lost. She shook her head. He asked where her parents were. She looked down. Something twisted inside him, a feeling he'd buried long ago. She pointed weakly toward a row of houses, but her hand shook so badly he could barely tell which one she meant. Ryder stood and walked slowly, giving her space. She followed close behind, her tiny footsteps quick and determined, as if she believed he alone could protect her. The sun had dipped below the horizon now, leaving only the warm glow of porch lights guiding them. Ryder felt more out of place than he ever had on rival territory. People usually looked at him with fear or suspicion. This little girl looked at him like he was her last hope. As they approached the house she'd pointed toward, his gut clenched. The front door was cracked open, barely hanging on its hinges. The porch light flickered like it was struggling for life. Ryder's instincts sharpened instantly. He knew danger when he saw it, smelled it. The girl tugged the back of his vest lightly, and when he turned, tears were streaming down her cheeks silently. She lifted one hand and traced a small bruise on her arm. Ryder felt something break inside him. He didn't barge in recklessly, he moved like a trained fighter, every footstep quiet, every breath controlled. Inside, the house was a mess, fallen furniture, shattered glass, the sickening sense of violence lingering in the air. The girl stayed at the doorway, shoulders shaking. He saw footprints, heavy ones, leading down the hall. He heard a low groan. Someone was still inside. He followed the sound and found a woman collapsed on the floor, blood streaking her forehead, her breathing shallow. The girl ran past him and threw her arms around the woman, sobbing. Ryder knelt beside them and checked for a pulse. It was weak but there. Relief and rage surged through him at the same time. The woman whispered one broken word, "Help, please." Ryder called for an ambulance with hands that had once built weapons, patched bikes, and thrown punches but had never shaken this much. When the operator asked who he was, his voice cracked in a way that surprised even him. He stayed with them until paramedics arrived, calming the girl, keeping pressure on the woman's wound, watching the doorway like a guard dog ready to attack anything threatening them. But the real blow came when the police asked questions. The girl wouldn't speak, not to them, not to anyone. She wouldn't even let go of Ryder's vest. She clung to him like he was the only anchor she had left. And then a neighbor came running, shouting that the man who lived in the house, the girl's father, had been seen speeding away in a pickup truck minutes before Ryder stopped his bike. The truth hit Ryder like a steel bat. This little girl hadn't been following him because he was nearby. She'd been following him because she had recognized something in him: strength, protection, safety, or maybe just someone who looked like he could fight off monsters. Not the ones hiding in the shadows, but the ones living right inside a home. As the paramedics lifted the woman onto a stretcher, the little girl's tiny hand reached up again and grabbed Ryder's fingers. And that was when it happened, the moment the world cracked open inside him. He saw himself reflected in her tears. He remembered being young, helpless, terrified, clinging to the wrong people until he grew armor thick enough to feel nothing. But she still had a chance. She needed someone now the way he once had. He knelt down again, and the girl wrapped her arms around his neck. The raw trust in that embrace shattered the walls he'd built for decades. He felt hot tears spill down his face, tears he hadn't shed since he was 8 years old. The paramedics paused, watching a hardened biker break down silently while holding a trembling little girl who had chosen him out of the entire world. Child Protective Services arrived, but the girl refused to leave his arms until Ryder promised he wasn't going anywhere. He made that promise with a steady voice and a shattered heart. Later, the officers told him she had followed him because she saw his jacket earlier that day at the gas station and remembered the words her mother always whispered when hiding her from her father: "Angels protect us." She didn't know the difference between hell's angels and heavenly ones. She just saw the word angel and ran toward the only hope she had. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories like this to life. Before you hear the ending, I want to make a special request. Comment below what you would have done if you were in Ryder's place. In the months that followed, Ryder visited the girl often. He attended court hearings, checked on her mother, and sat beside the child during every medical appointment and therapy session. He wasn't her father. He wasn't her brother. He wasn't even family by blood. But he became something more than all of that. He became the one person she knew would never walk away. The world expected monsters from men like him. But this time, he had become the angel she believed he was.